And it was everything I hoped it would be. It was such a dream come true. Now would my incredible triumphant testimonies unit please stand? This was our second $1 million year. We didn't want anyone to think it was an accident, right? The first time? Okay. Well, this year we broke every record we had ever set in our 24 years as a unit, and every woman standing and the rest of our unit across 28 states played a part. They love this company and they love Mary Kay products. They love their customers and serve them well. They love each other, and I am so blessed that they love me too. Mm-hmm. We aren't just a team, we are a family. I had the privilege of celebrating these women individually at our unit awards a couple nights ago, but would you help me celebrate them once more? Stage this morning with letters that spelled out triumphant. Triumphant Testimonies is our unit name because when you are triumphant in something, you have the opportunity to share your testimony that gives God the glory and helps others believe that if we can do it, you can do it too. One of those testimonies started at the close of last year's seminar as our unit was saying our goodbyes. We had been number 4 the past 2 years, and I said, next year, we will finish top 3. Well, Heather Millette looked at me and said, no, I think we can be number 1. Heather, thank you for seeing something I couldn't yet see myself. I believe that God used you to plant a seed of belief in my heart in that very moment. Throughout the year, God kept placing reminders in front of me. One of those reminders came on the top director trip in Prague. So Mary Kay hosted a beautiful medieval dinner for the prestige sales directors in the St. Agnes Convent. And during the production, the cast randomly selected me from the audience and brought me on the stage with them. They draped, get this, a royal robe on my shoulders, set a crown on my head, surrounded me with knights, then took my hand and led me to be seated in the Queen's chair for the rest of the production. I couldn't understand a thing they were saying because they were speaking Czech, but what I did understand was that God was giving me a glimpse of what He had in store for the year ahead.
Wow, that's cool.
Testimony has a beginning. Mine started with a phone call. My aunt called me out of the blue on the last day of September in 1997 to say she had started Mary Kay and thought it would be something I would like. I was 18 years old, newly married, in a new city, and had a new baby. I still remember the 3 things she shared that stood out to me the most. First, she shared Mary Kay is built on putting God first, family second, and career third. Second, it was flexible. My daughter McKaylee was 3 months old, and my husband managed a buckle store, so flexibility was a must. And third, I could make extra money to play in makeup. Like, I felt like this business was made for me. You heard the caboodle story last night, right?
Yeah.
We were living on a very tight budget, but Mary Kay helped when the car broke down and we wanted to take a trip. It gave me something that every new mom needs, adult conversation. Well, 4 years later, we now had 2 little ones. McKaylee was 4 and Micah was 2 when my husband told me he wanted to go back to school. Well, I was playing Mary Kay, but I pulled out the career path brochure and said, this is where I am, a senior with 1 active team member, and this is where I need to be, a sales director. I called my director on February 17th and said, I know I haven't talked to you in a while, but I want to be a sales director. Don't you wish you had directors, people that could do that, right? I said, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Well, she gave me a plan to do 2 to 3 parties a week and to call her daily for mentorship and accountability, and I decided to trust that plan completely. 11 days later, I entered DIQ. 3 months later, earned the use of my first car, and the next month, debuted as a sales director. 1 year later, at 24 years old, I was driving my first pink Cadillac. And today, if you ask me the secret, we all want to know that, right? I will say first, decide. Like, did you know the Latin word for decide literally means to cut off all other options? Second is be consistent. It does not matter where you are today. What matters is your decision followed by consistency. Now, my husband never went back to school, but I thought, well, God always has a bigger plan. And 8 years later, my kids were 12 and 14, I became a single mom. I filed for divorce the day my husband was arrested for domestic violence against me. The flexibility of my Mary Kay business allowed me to cry it out, pray it out, and then shift my focus to someone else. Helping women feel beautiful with our Mary Kay products, coaching beauty consultants towards their goals. I clung to Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. When trials come, and they will, don't tell everyone. Instead, seek wise counsel and lean into God's truth. God can, and I believe God will, turn your test into a testimony and your mess into a message once you're through it. In 2017, I married my Prince Charming on the beach in Puerto Vallarta, Troy. God answered my prayers when he brought Troy into my life. His redemption story was so much bigger and so much better than I ever could have imagined. Troy works from home too, so we always say it's a good thing we like each other so much because we spend a lot of time together. One of my favorite habits we created when we started dating is we start out every day with a 4-mile walk, totally unplugged from everything except the outdoors and each other. Well, it was such a dream come true when I was able to take him on our first top director trip in 2022. You see, I'd earned a top director trip in 2005, then life happened. I had been stuck at $500,000 or sometimes below for years. But in 2020, we had not only earned the trip, but had beaten our best year ever, thanks in large part to Jeannie Martin's encouragement. Always beat your best, beat your best. Well, unfortunately, COVID canceled the trip plans in 2020 and in 2021, but in 2022, Troy and I experienced our very first prestige top director trip together in Scotland and Ireland. Since then, we've been blessed to earn every prestige top director trip, and every one has reminded me that no one celebrates achievement quite like Mary Kay. Our first $1 million year was 2024, and it was June 30th, was a Sunday. Troy and I went to the early service at church, and the song that our worship team led us in, get this, because I was just backstage listening to Linda, Goodness of God. Well, the tears rolled down my face as I sang that song in praise. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I knew right then that million would be finished. I am so grateful for God's goodness, God's forgiveness, God's guidance in every season of my life. Ladies, never give up on the dreams that God has placed in your heart. Million wasn't placed in my heart in 2024 when we did million the first time. It was placed in my heart years before that. Do one thing every single day that moves you one step closer to your goal. Even the little things become big things over time. Strengthen your belief muscle. Let my testimony or someone else's remind you that it can be done. Every obstacle you overcome, every goal you reach, every time you stretch a little further than before, your belief muscle grows stronger for the next goal. I came across a podcast in early June titled, I Know God Can, I Know God Will, but I Don't Know How. What? In June? When we needed to do more in 1 month than we had ever done before? Like, how cool is that timing to get a podcast like that coming across? Well, he said, it's one thing to talk about faith. It's another to believe it. But everything changes when faith gets into your feet. Let me hear your feet.
Good.
Yes, I hear it. Faith moves. That's where the joy comes from. He said a lot of times we end up not taking a step of faith because we are waiting on clarity. A lot of us are praying for clarity, but we need to be praying for courage. Courage to take the next step. Courage to do the hard thing. Courage to keep going when the dream feels impossible. Courage to do the thing you are called to do, even when you can't see the whole path. Never underestimate what God can do. Today's courageous step of faith may become tomorrow's testimony. Thank you.